Hello and welcome to the Naru FastCast with your hosts, Dave and Josh Masson.
Pull up a chair and listen to us discussing fasting and health-related topics.
Hi there and welcome to episode 12 of the Naru FastCast. So what have we got in store for you today? So today's episode is basically about sort of me search. I always sort of find the best research is me search. You know, it's best to sort of find a problem that you can't answer in your own health journey and then look into it and see if it works. If it works for you, then it's good to share. And this is kind of what we do with the Naru FastCast. And with all the stuff we do with Naru, it's very much about Josh and I hitting hurdles and finding things that help us and sharing them. The biggest focus that we have in Naru is to understanding that these hurdles don't just require one solution. They are a stacking effect. You know, keeping my body shape, keeping in, sleeping well, and all the things that I find, they are born from having like a really strong morning routine, which helps me with the nighttime routine. I'm lucky enough that I can get up in the morning with a lot of energy. I go to bed extremely quickly when as soon as my head hit the pillow. And I wake up in the morning with a lot of energy. I have the day with a lot of energy. I go to the toilet okay. I have constant energy. I just don't feel unwell at all during the day, which is great. But it's taken a long time, a lot of changes to get to that point. And I find that my morning routine over the last 2 years has been getting up in a fasted state. I find fasting has been the core foundation for everything that I've done. And when I stopped that, I really noticed a massive difference. So lately I changed it. I thought, do you know what, I'm going to try and put a bit of body weight on, and I wanted to sort of grow muscle mass. So I started lowering down my fasting window from 16 to 19 hours, usually I kind of go for, and down to about 14 hours. So my usual week is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I will do between sort of 17 and 18, 19, 20 hours of fasting. And then the rest of the week, I go down to my normal, typical kind of 16 hours, 17 hours of fasting. And then kind of on the Sunday, I kind of, I call it eat when, which is when hunger naturally ensues. I kind of just, I just eat when I feel like I need to eat really on the Sunday. I don't really have a specific goal, but for me, I find that it's one less thing I need to worry about getting up in the morning with a busy schedule. But I kind of stack that. So I start fasted. I have my electrolytes in the morning. I start drinking them in the morning, which then I delay my coffee intake with. I go outside. I try and do a bit of exercise in the morning, and I'll also make sure that I'm getting a bit of sunlight in the morning as well. And it just sets me up for the day. And I haven't really found anything else that sort of I really need to add in. Oh, the cold showers, and then a bit of grounding. So those types of things I kind of add in, but that's enough for me to be able to do it, but without having to stress. And what I kind of thought was, I was going along thinking, well, as I said, I reduced my fasting window down, and I just felt I kind of getting my bloating back again. I just felt that I just wasn't feeling good. And the problem is when you try and consume more calories to sort of gain more mass, you end up, having to default to calories that aren't so good for you. And I was just feeling bloated and full all the time, and it just wasn't really working for me. So back up to my normal sort of schedule, and I just feel better for it personally. And I kind of think, well, I could look a bit bigger, I could have a bit more muscle mass, but yeah, I'd have to sacrifice feeling good during the day and just not having any of these problems, which is a real sort of luxury really to have. So as we sort of talked about the stacking effect, one of the big things I found is losing a bit of time to be able to go out and do long bouts of exercise. Struggling at the moment, obviously running 2 businesses, having family, seeing friends, and just fitting it all in. I do 3 sort of 14-hour days in a row. And then when it comes to, and I sort of struggle, so I might do a little bit of workout at the end of those days. But it's difficult because I'm really trying to make sure that sleep is a real core of my health, because it's something that I don't focus on very often. It's easy for me to stay up late and not to focus on sleep, but I know the benefits of it. So I've been incredibly strict, and doing that then means something sacrifices. And usually it's a workout at the end of the day, which is the one that goes. So I found this information, which is a study done on over 22,000 people, and it's a self-reported study. So we have to sort of be mindful about I'm mindful of that. But still, 22,000 people is a lot of people to study. And what they basically did is it's called VILPA, okay? So it's vigorous, intense lifestyle physical activity, okay? And they found what would the effect be of that on non-exercising individuals, okay? And they basically wanted to find out what was the risk, was there any reduction in risk to cancer, okay? Now, amazingly, they found that there was an 18 to 22% reduction in cancer when followed up in these people that had implemented this VILPA, okay? Now, this was a great study to find because this is just me. I walk up the stairs, I'll probably sprint up the stairs, I'll get to the top of the stairs and I'll do sort of 10, 15 pull-ups on my pull-up bar, and I'll be brushing my teeth and I'll be doing some squats, or I'll go downstairs and in the corner of the kitchen, where it makes like a 90-degree angle, I'll do some 20 or 30 sort of push-ups on it. And I'm just constantly doing little things because in my mind I'm like, if I can't do the full 30 minutes of my exercise in one go at the end or in a part of the day, at least through the day I've achieved that, because the kind of guidance around the 150 minutes of exercise is pretty strong. It gives you a 32% reduction in all-cause mortality, which basically means it lowers your risk of dying of anything by 32%. Exercising does. So for those 30 minutes of moderate or vigorous exercise, so you can take that and do 30 times 1 minute of that during your day, or you can do it all together in one go. It doesn't specify if it's done in one part or if it just has to be done throughout the day, and then those 150 minutes throughout the week. So when they look at, and I've said this before, but when they also look at what happened if you did 600 minutes a week, well, it actually only gives you an extra 8% reduction in your risk. So you could look at that and say, well, actually, trying to just fit it in, it's all these things, if you can't do them, they're not going to give you the benefit. So it's about how does it work with my routine, my lifestyle, to make sure that I can fit these things in. And you don't have to think I've got to get changing gym gear and I've got to go and sit on an exercise bike or do something every time to make it count. These things can count, as this study is going to show, in small bounds. Okay, so the mean times, or the sort of the average amount of time that was actually dedicated was around 3.4 to 3.6 minutes. Okay, so little short bouts of 3.5 minutes led to this reduction. And then when they actually looked at it and found that people that did up to 4.5 minutes for these little micro workouts, they actually benefited from around about a 32% reduction in cancers. So that is massive. So when you're thinking, shall I do this workout? Shall I not? It's only it's only a few squats. That it does compound. In another sort of phrase I've heard about it is like workout snacks. And I quite like that, doing a little bit of workout, doing some work, getting up, doing a little bit of exercise, get the blood flow going. I always recommend to patients that they should be active for 10 minutes in every hour. And maybe potentially that's a little bit overkill. Maybe actually I could be recommending, I'm thinking about it, 3 to 4 minutes, because 10 minutes of activity in every hour is quite a lot. So on reflection, maybe I should be saying, look, even if you get up and walk up and down the stairs, enough to sort of make you a bit puffed, for 3 minutes, then that's fantastic. That is going to have a massive impact if you're not exercising very much at all in your day. And it's difficult. I've done a bit of podcast prep today and I've been sat down for like an hour and a half straight, and I'm now sort of doing the podcast stood up because I've just been sat down and I need to sort of stand up. But it's very easy to get engrossed in something and to sort of do things at the detriment of what your body kind of really needs to do, which is be up, active, different sort of sitting, standing positions, etc. So today I thought that was a really, really interesting thing to really basically discuss, because I feel like anybody can kind of give that a go, and I feel like anyone can kind of achieve that. So as we said before, just getting some movement in is super important. Now, the other thing I'm going to talk to you about today is wireless headphones. Very interesting, because our son sometimes listens in the evening time to some meditation, and I'd heard that there's a potential for non-ionizing radiation, which is a sort of emitted from Bluetooth devices, could pose a risk on health. So I thought to myself, well, my son Harvey's going to bed listening to these headphones, and I sort of use them sometimes to listen to. I've had wireless headphones, they've just broken, and actually I made the decision to go, so am I going to go back to the lead, or am I going to go back to a wireless headphones? And I got back to a lead, and it is such a pain. It's such a pain having them. And I think with a lot of things around health is that we kind of always go, wireless headphones are bad for us, right, I'm not going to use them, which is basically what I did. And it kind of made me reflect on it, because we talk about this a lot, about how, yes, you're right, but it's also about the stacking of all the other things you're doing. If I'm wearing wireless headphones all the time and I'm listening to music 24/7, or if I'm not exercising, I'm overweight, I'm not fasting, I'm doing all these things that I know that I should be doing, but I'm not doing any of it, and I'm sitting with laptops on my lap and doing all these types of stuff, then maybe actually it's a part that I could just change, and it could be quite easy. So I think, again, you kind of have to sit back and think, yes, we are in a very toxic, polluted world, unfortunately, in what we live today, and we have a lot of external things that are impacting our health. So to mitigate as many of them as you can when you're conscious of them and you know about them, probably sounds like a good way to go about, to be honest. But again, I think it's just about being honest with yourself and seeing what really works. But it was an interesting thing to look at, and after this you may think you might want to stop them. So basically, in 2015 there was an article written by 250 researchers in this area to the World Health Organization, the United Nations, stating that the concerns about non-ionizing electromagnetic fields, so EMFs, okay, and it's basically emitted by wireless devices. So you're walking around with your phone in your pocket, laptops, televisions, Bluetooth devices. And the issue they had was that the radiation, the level of the radiation that was emitted from certain devices, they actually said that what was stated in the literature, the level at which the radiation was deemed safe, in the literature they were saying that actually it had an effect on biological systems at a lot lower level. So, but it was interesting, 250 researchers were in that field writing, over 8 years ago, stating the problem is something that's it's something to be significant about, something to take interest in, I think. So basically, Bluetooth, we all know that it links up, short distances to devices, and it does emit at a very low frequency. So if you're looking at it compared to a mobile phone, a Bluetooth device would, headphones, for example, would maybe be emitting at around about 2.5 megawatt versus a phone that would probably be 100 times that. So the electromagnetic radiation can occur from, like I said, headphones, or it can occur from televisions, your iPhone, etc. And so the difference between non-ionizing radiation is that it doesn't have enough power to move electrons, from the atoms, whereas ionizing radiation can. But there has been a lot of anecdotal studies showing this. Now, we've talked in the past from the podcast about grounding, and what they have been showing is that when you are using non-ionizing radiation, they can measure the zeta potential, which is the charge on the outside of a blood vessel. So we want the blood vessels to be charged to repel each other so they don't cause clotting, and when that charge gets reduced, obviously the red blood cells become more sticky. And there is anecdotal evidence, it's been shown actually, that you can measure the zeta potential of a red blood cell when grounded and non-grounded, and the charge goes the charge goes down basically when you're non-grounded, when you're grounded. So it's an interesting thing, and they've basically shown the same thing when using non-ionizing radiation devices. So devices that emit EMF, such as phones, headphones, things like that. And anecdotally, people have shown that when they're wearing the headphones and when they're not wearing the headphones, the zeta potential changes. So again, the kind of evidence isn't there yet, but maybe it's something that, like I was saying about my son, he was listening to a meditation every night and he was using his wireless headphones. Maybe that's something I might just put on rather than him having his headphones on. So, when we think about that, the laptop sat on our genitals, the phone sat in our pocket next to our genitals. And the reason why, you might want to think about, you can get these EMF protecting mats that you can put underneath your laptop that stop the radiation going down into your genitals, because we know especially with sperm count, is affected massively by temperature. So it's something to be mindful of. Again, if you're spending hours with your laptop on your lap, something to be mindful of. You're walking around with your phone in your pocket all the time. And they realize that the reason for the wireless headphones is that non-ionizing radiation, that heating effect that it can have in the sort of cells, close to the head, is reason why that they're kind of thinking that maybe ear pods aren't such a good thing. And obviously the other big thing is electric blankets. Electric blankets and saunas are two big emitters of non-ionizing radiation. Now, in a way, sauna therapy is a very good way to protect against it, because obviously you're causing a local, you feel how hot your phone can get or your laptop when it's working, and that radiation is changing the kind of through obviously the ionizing radiation, non-ionizing radiation, the makeup of the cells. And when we go in the sauna, we produce heat shock proteins which help to stabilize the outside of the cells and protect the mitochondria from oxidation, things like that. So they actually have shown that potentially having, doing sauna therapy regularly can help to make your cells more resilient against the non-ionizing radiation effects of things like your headphones, your cell phones, using a laptop on your lap and things like that, which I think is quite interesting. Not everyone has access to a sauna, so you could take that from that. Well, I'm trying not to keep my phone in my pocket as much. I won't work with my laptop on my lap. I'll probably put it on the desk and then sit underneath it. Those types of things. Maybe try to use a plug-in headphone while you're sat doing work for hours. If you're out on the train or you're doing some running, put your wireless headphones in, because it's impossible to run along with a lead flapping around your head. Well, I find it is anyway. So yeah, hopefully that sort of is quite interesting. There's obviously so much information around about sort of toxicities and getting sort of things that can affect your health all over. And I think it's about understanding what is the complete risk, what are the kind of potential risks, and just seeing whether it's something you do all the time. If you sit there for hours and hours, listening to music every day while you're working, maybe you should think about putting a plug-in headphones and take away your wireless ones if you're just sat at a desk working. It's just something to think about. But again, these compounding things you do every day for your health, whether it's positive or negative, have a stacking effect, and over many years will either have a positive or a negative effect on your lifestyle or on your health outcomes. So again, hope you've really enjoyed today's episode. I'd love you to go and check out our brand new website that we have got. And I'd also love you to go and have a look at our new blog section. And the most thing I'd like you to go and do is to go and check out our brand new product, Naru Revive, which we will be launching very, very soon. All the information about the product is on there. You can read the blogs we've written on there, all the scientific research and literature on there, and we will keep you updated about when that is live to go, and you can go and purchase it. And we'd love you to go and give us some feedback. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Hope you have a good week.